Okay, y'all. I'm surprised I'm about to do what I'm gonna do, but I'm really surprised to say that American soaps are coming back from before the 1990s, 35 years ago. Because I know because there's becoming more and more um story storyline based instead of focusing on relationships. They're bringing back real storylines, real issues, real stuff instead of relationships and sex all the time. And they're not having so much cheating as Beyond Gates. I'm not getting into Beyond Gates because I'm not watching it. I will never watch it. It's just political BS and that identity politics. So I'm not going into Beyond the Gates because I think that's bullshit. But anyhow, I would say U.S. soaps are coming back because they're bringing back the real storylines and how they were back in the 90s, before the 90s, when there's more excitement storylines like kidnapping. I'm not saying they're just bringing it into more reality, more real life storylines instead of these fantasy and stupid, idiotic storylines like they had with Put Charles with the vampire storyline, and Passions. Passions was full of shit. I don't know why I even watched the show. Kim was addicted to it, but more they got into the demon neck stuff and the basement stuff, the more I'm like, why am I watching this show? I started watching it for like watched it for a year and a half. Stopped watching it because they were getting into more just fantasy crap, bullshit. And the reason why I stopped watching the regular soaps, General Hospital, Days of Lives, and Young and Restless, is because they were getting into the immoral stuff like switching babies. Um, they were having affairs, and bringing back people from the dead. Really? Why would you bring people from the dead? Even though Young and Restless has a storyline now that Alan and Martin storyline, but it might be Martin playing who was still alive, and Alan he killed his brother. But anyway, I'm so glad to say US soaps are coming back to the mall stuff and all these good reasons why people started watching it back in before 35 years ago. And it just is the excitement and the reading room, the reading the politics into this country. They're bringing back faith. Yeah, they're bringing back religious and faith things. Like they brought back Jonathan Jackson and General Hospital playing Luke Lucky, and they are bringing his religion and his faith into the storyline. Thank God. That's what today's US soaps were missing for 35 years. They did not have any religious, no moral standard, nothing. They were just playing with how hot these women are and how sex driven these shows are. But now, since like the last 2 or 3 months since I think when Trump won the election, I think soap writers and them guys finally read the room. We were done with the immoral crap, immoral shit, and these crazy storylines. And I just wish Hollywood would do that. But they're still doing shit and they're doing bad movies. Like The Drop, like so stupid. But anyway, and guys, you guys hope that funny reading room and politics. Just wish the nighttime shows were like that and bring back old shows where conservatives watch the shows instead like Grey's Anatomy, ABC and CBS and some NBC shows. I watch Law and Order shows and I watch Chicago PD, not the other two. But I wish they would bring back why people watch shows again. It's like we don't want to watch hot sex and we don't want to see relationships. We want to watch the reason why the shows were so popular when they began. Like Law and Order, all three shows uh, were focused on the crime and the law and justice. They still are, don't get me wrong. Um, but they're bringing to today's storyline, news headlines, which some I guess I'm not good. And I watch Chicago PD a lot, and I hope to God they will bring in some of the storylines which Chicago has issues with in today's society into the show because people need to wake up to the fact about what's wrong with this country and how blind the liberals and Demo- Democrats really are. They are so freaking blind. The reason why Trump won the electoral, the popular vote, and why he was still popular even after the tariffs, even though the tariffs are a bad idea. But anyway, that's why Trump won. People want some kind of reality back and some things like that. But that's it with the U.S. soaps. But sadly, the UK soaps must have hired the US soaps writers because now the UK soaps, again, like USA soaps, they're getting really bad storylines. Like EastEnders, I haven't watched EastEnders since Max Bowden left because they really don't have any good storylines. Although when the Rick burned down, that was a good storyline and how Martin died. But like I said, after um Danny Driver Danny Driver died left and Max Bowden was forced out, these Anders has not had really good storylines. The not like US soaps have been just really boring and stupid storylines. These Anders had like Christmas I'm not talking about Eve's and Soki's wedding. That's the only good thing about the soap of late. That bringing um, different styles into soaps. But anyway, but wait, they were dragging on Tino's death and how Suki's ex-husband's head injury began and how long they dragged out the storylines and how they end up having Gina um, boyfriend cheat on her with her own sister. That's US soaps. This is why people walked away from US soaps. They're really bad at their job. Plus, the um, the collisions they're bringing into these good storylines like David and Shauna's and the latest storyline how David was suicidal and saved Daisy's life, although it sadly killed Daisy's child in the process. That was a good storyline, but that's the only storyline of the last several months. It was good. It's just been boring, boring, boring since Billy's husband died. Forgot his name, but that was the last good storyline before David saved Daisy's life. But I don't know, boring. And US soaps, UK soaps, no thank you. And plus, the long periods of times the actors want a break from them shows, 1 week to a month, too long of a stretch for a break. of a storyline. I just wish they would stop being snowflakes and soft and be like the U.S. soaps, where the actors are fine, where they can be only a week off or couple days off. That's all they need, and they're fine after the week or couple days off. They're fine. And UK's soap actors are weak. They need to have a backbone and a toughen out because more they're off the show, the more delayed they're coming back. Like Carla's husband, he's been out for a few months from a knee injury. When is he coming back? Or is he forced out like Max was forced out in EastEnders? These long breaks these actors need is only gonna make fans want to walk away more because people want real storylines to carry on. And people like the Pacific storyline. They don't want to watch the other storylines. They want to have the favorite um, characters back in the show as soon as possible. Like US hopes, like I said, a couple days or a week, and maybe sometimes a month, but not without a storyline. Unlike the UK soaps, these actors don't even have a storyline where they're leaving the show for. Max did going to prison, but do we know if Max even coming back to the show? No. I just wish these people know what they're doing.